Because I think anyone putting themselves out there on the internet can relate to this, right? When you're feeling yourself, and that doesn't mean that your hair is done and your makeup is done. It's not so much about the external aspects of you, but when you are really feeling who you are as a person, content is just so much easier, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say.
So much easier.
Oh, hello. We're talking about my tits.
Most of the time.
Girl on girl on girl.
You would.
Like, stop picking up the fucking hot knife.
Fucking cares.
Right on track.
Ugh.
With a lot of money, I would do great fucking things.
But not in a good way.
Yikes.
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 Yikes. Where's the realness?
Yeah. Everything you want.
Immaculate experience. Back down.
You're getting like excited.
I do actually. I need tequila. Exactly. Oh, welcome back to the podcast. Christine just threatened us with a good time.
I did.
She
My
wants
favorite thing
flash
to do, just to get you laughing.
Yeah, every single time. Welcome back, everyone. We've got a three-way today. We haven't done one of these in a long time. Oh, gosh. And we have my beautiful friend Vasavi here today. And she is, well, you're going to hear, she is a powerhouse. And I am obsessed with her. I was saying before we got started that I just spent the morning binging her content. And I'm like, all these videos are so good. I'm just going to keep scrolling.
I love a good binge fest when you find somebody you're like, yes, just binge. And you're like, yes.
I love a good three-way. three-way. So I'm excited to be
I was
here.
missing on the three-ways. I was really sad. I feel like I just haven't had that sandwich in a while, and I really needed it. The three-way sandwich, you know?
Yeah, it's a vibe. It's a real vibe. And I'm just so grateful to have you here, Vasavi. Like, we met, gosh, like well over a decade ago in the World of Awesomeness Fest. And then we got reconnected through another mutual friend, Sylvie. And the reconnection, I was like, oh my gosh, like there's so many parallels that we've walked in the time that we kind of diverged from each other and then coming back together. So to be able to share you with our audience is just such a delight for me. And I'm just obsessed with all of your work in the world right now, and I can't wait for more people to get their eyes and ears and their energy into what you're up to in the world. It's much needed.
I really appreciate that, and I really receive that. I think especially, when you're putting your work out there, you hope someone's going to resonate with it. You hope that it's going to stick. You hope that it's going to make an impact. So I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
We're all about self-expressed women. Walking the unhinged path of self-expression and authenticity. And you posted something, I think it was this week, but it might have been last week, I'm not sure. But the premise of it was like, you can't, talk shitty to yourself in private and then expect to be magnetic in public. And I loved that so much, and I kind of want to start there as our riffing point, because I think everyone in our audience can really take something valuable away from that distinction. So would you be willing I know I totally butchered it, but like...
Yeah. No, you didn't. You're fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, like, because I think you did 2 different posts about it, and it's just so valuable as creators, as women in relationships, as artists. Like, if you've got a business, like, being visible is so important, and being able to, translate your essence when you're online or in person is so important. But again, like, if we're playing this game behind the scenes where we're like, I'm the worst person ever, and then we go out in public and we're like, I'm amazing. It's like, no one's going to believe you because you don't believe you.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. I was having this thought this morning. Usually in the morning, I like to record a piece of content. I'm feeling myself. I'm walking. I'm on my daily walk. And so it's so easy for me to just pull up the camera and start walking and talking when I'm recording a piece of content. But then the other day, I wanted to record a piece of content and I hadn't moved my body. I didn't feel like I just wasn't feeling really good. I did not want to get on camera. My self-talk was like, oh my God, I just want to lay here. I don't want to do anything. I'm just whatever. So of course, I don't feel magnetic. I don't feel like getting on camera and recording a piece of content. And that's exactly what I mean by that, right? Like, what we tell ourselves in private, what we're telling to ourselves internally about who we are, what we look like, what we sound like, what we shouldn't sound like. that is directly going to translate into how you show up on camera. Even your written words, not just your spoken words, but even your written words. Like, think about it, right? Like when you go to an event, and let's say you have a little social anxiety like I do. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. Get me the hell out of here. I'm an introvert posing as an extrovert, and like before you walk into that room, if you're saying stuff to yourself like, I don't want to be here, this is awful, whatever, you're going to walk in shaky. You're not going to walk in rooted and grounded in who you are. This is why anytime I go somewhere now, I look in the mirror before I leave, or I'll say it to myself in the car. I'll be like, you look fly as fuck tonight. You look good. You're going to meet someone amazing. Go in there. How could they not love you? Like, I tell myself the things that I need to hear so I can walk in magnetic. So that's exactly what I meant by that post. I just shared those two examples because I think anyone putting themselves out there on the internet can relate to this, right? When you're feeling yourself, and that doesn't mean that your hair is done and your makeup is done. It's not so much about the external aspects of you, but when you are really feeling who you are as a person, content is just so much easier, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would
Yes.
say.
So much easier. Vasavi,
Yeah.
can you tell, just for context, obviously we know who you are. I've gotten to know you, but could you describe to our audience like who you are, what you do? I know it's so funny because Kelsey and I, only we bring somebody on, I'm like, we know you. Everyone should,
Yeah.
everyone already knows you, right? Like even Kelsey and I just led a free 3-day event. And it's funny because we got on and I was like, hey everybody, like, and then we realized, I said to Kelsey, I was like, we should probably actually introduce ourselves because
They
I
don't know
assume
us.
people know me, right? Like I'm just like, oh yeah, people know who I am. They know my whole story. They know my life story. I'm a big open book. But I was like, we should probably actually like tell people for like who are new to us and don't know our crazy stories and all these things. And so can you just describe really quick to our audience, like, just the most potent stuff, like who you are, what do you fucking care about? What do you stand
Yes,
for?
absolutely. I think the best way to describe who I am is to know my colorful paths and journeys that I have been on as far as my career trajectory, because I've used all these parts of myself to really help people in the way that I help them now. So I'm a
Yeah.
licensed therapist. I'm also a visibility coach. I'm the author of the book, Say It Out Loud. I'm a host of the Say It Out Loud podcast. I'm the founder of the Out Loud School, which is the gym for your voice and your visibility. And so those are all the things on paper, right? That make me who I am. But there's so much not on paper that, you'd have to, dig into maybe this conversation we're going to have, or maybe any of my social posts or my podcast, like having experienced bipolar disorder, ADHD, divorce, going to rehab, not once, but twice, really, having to fall on my face multiple times to really come back home to myself. So I've taken not just my professional lived experience as all the things that I've mentioned, and as a voiceover artist and an actor, I forgot to mention that, but I've also taken my personal stuff that I've gone through in my life and blended everything together to be the person that you hear and see today.
Wow. So you basically, what I'm hearing you say is you have every reason under the sun to not be visible,
Yeah.
which is why I think it's so potent that you've chosen now to be the exact opposite of what you could. You have every reason and every right to say, yeah, no, fuck, I'm not going to be visible. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to be able to talk about these things if I have all this, past or whatever, all these things. But you
Yeah.
take that and you're like, no, I'm going to take this. I'm going to run with it. I'm going to make it my mission. I'm going to make it my purpose. I'm going to make it and that's what I think is really cool when you see leaders who have really stepped into their purpose and doing their soul's work, is because you've been given like the raw data of your life and everything that you've had to walk through so that you're really believable and trustworthy. Because when somebody's like, just be visible, and just be
Easier said than
yourself,
done.
be expressive. And they're like, it's like, tell me about your life. And you're like, well, things were easy and then they were easier. And then I just was like, so easy. And then this is what you should do though. So I think it's really cool to hear, and doesn't shock me that you've had a lot of adversity, you've had to walk through that, and you're still choosing to be visible even through that. Because I think a lot of people take what they've been through or take what's going on for them and let it be a reason why they don't show up. Nobody will understand me. I'm alone. All these different ideas that are rumbling around the head.
I know, and I just always want to use my life as a testimony and proof that like everything you've gone through is priming you, and it has primed you to be the person that you want to be, whatever version of you that is in this season of your life. So I really appreciate you acknowledging that and even naming that out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm obsessed.
I'm so
Like,
obsessed.
What do you find? I'd love to ask you something really quickly. What do you find is the biggest? You obviously are leading. Is it men,
And
women,
then both,
whoever,
yeah,
anything like
yeah.
you lead any? Okay, yeah. In your containers, you'll. What do you find is some of the biggest roadblocks that people come up against when it comes to visibility? Because
I
you're
would
dealing
say,
with resistance. I mean, majority of people aren't like, let me be visible. We have a lot of trauma. We have a lot of stuff in our data and our nervous system that's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I think I'll be okay today, right? Like there's just the people are battling all sorts of things, right? So what do you find is like some of the biggest, yeah, like things you see in your containers?
I would say right now, especially inside the out loud school, there's this like, obsession with being professional. Like we have this idea of what it means to be professional, right? Like some of the things are obviously like no cursing, no talking about anything personal, can't talk about politics, can't talk about money. Like you can't talk about these things out loud. And so I find a lot of my members are like, can I really say this out loud? And I'm like, whose permission are you asking? Right? Like yes, I'm the founder of the school, but I push back at all my members. And when they're like, can I really say this out loud? I'm like, yes, you can. And please, please do say what you want to say out loud because that is how you test resonance, right? That's how you see who's going to resonate with this content and who's not. That would be the number one thing though I would say, Christine, is definitely this like obsession with being professional. I'll also say there's a lot of focus on external vanity. Like I find that especially with a lot of the women, they're just like what they look like they have to be polished, hair done, makeup done. And it's all good if you want to have your hair done, makeup done, but don't let not having that be the reason that you don't say the thing that you know you need to say in the moment. In like, because like sometimes you get that spark of inspiration where you're like, oh my God, like words are flowing through me right now. I need to capture this. Are you not going to capture it because your hair and makeup aren't done? Are you serious? So for me, it's like what we're doing inside the school is really to break down these rules around like being professional, having to look pretty and beautiful all the time. Like sometimes the most beautiful thing you can do is just show up in your messy bun and in
Yep.
your dead dad's t-shirt like I do, right? Like I just show up in my dead dad's Hanes t-shirt and I'm just like, blah, I have this thing to say. So those are, yeah, those are, two of the biggest things that I'm seeing is professional, polished, and also this is a huge one, is being witnessed in their brilliance, like really stepping into their power, really stepping into their zone of genius, their brilliance, the area that they love talking about, and having people see them truly shine, because that bumps up against all of their, are people going to think I'm arrogant? Are they going to think I think I'm better than you? And it's like, no one is thinking that. And if they do, let them, right? Like if they do, let them. So like, yes, those are the three main themes. Like I could keep going on and on with how many themes that I'm seeing, but it's definitely being seen, celebrated, witnessed in your brilliance, being professional, being polished, and just externally. Like I have a lot of women who are in their 50s now that are like, I feel like I'm aging and like who's going to listen to me? And so we have to work through that, right? We have to work through, what are you telling yourself about getting older? What are the beliefs that you have around getting older? How is that stopping you from being visible? I'm dealing with that too. I'm 43. I'm like looking at my lines on my face and I'm comparing photos of me from when I was in my 30s, and I notice myself being judgy and bitchy about that. And I notice myself having these conversations with myself. So we're having really like real ass shit conversations inside the school about what it truly means to be visible and let people see you in
Oh,
your humanity,
can
lines and
Kelsey and I
all.
come in and do an unhinged workshop in there? Because
Yeah.
what I'll say when you were like people, when you were saying how people were like, can I really say this? I was like, your just answer moving forward needs to be like, if you have any concerns, just head on over to the Club Unhinged podcast and
Yes.
then re-ask me. Just listen to one episode
One episode, that's all you
and then
need.
just re-ask me that same question right after, because like it just my heart feels for everything you're saying, because it's like I've been that woman like that you're
Yeah.
literally speaking about. Like I've
Yeah.
been it, hating my body, hating myself, zero self-expression, like all of that. And so Kelsey and I see a lot of what you're talking about in our club as well. There's this sort of like shut down perfect, a lot of perfectionism, a lot of people pleasing, a lot of uh, can I? And I think that's the biggest thing that Kelsey and I always say is like, we hope to be the helpful like walking permission slip, and that's why we talk about love in our year-long container. We have love, sex, money, power, These are all the
Love it.
areas that, like, traditionally, again, all people, all humans, but like women especially have been very shut down. And so we're like, let's just freely talk about this. Let me talk
Yes.
about where I was totally numb in sex. Let me talk about the dumpster fire relationships I've been in. Let me talk about all that, the trauma and all that, like, because it's like this exhale, I think, when you're actually, and I'm sure in your containers as well, when you're talking about these taboo subjects and you're just completely breaking down the walls and being very authentic, it's like a massive exhale to people. And I think there's an instant calibration that happens when one person's willing to do it, and the power of community as well, obviously.
Dude, when you say that shit out loud, when you say the shit out loud that you've been holding in, and you not only say it, so you hear yourself saying it, but then also you're being witnessed by other people, maybe even complete strangers, like in your containers. Like, not everyone knows everyone in my school, right? Like, they're just starting to get to know each other, and you're being witnessed by almost complete strangers. Like, a release truly happens. It is like you can breathe again. And I swear you just drop emotional weight when you say it out loud and you allow yourself to be witnessed by other people.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and there's so much baggage that we carry into our life, into our business, into our relationships, of all the things we never said, and
Yes.
all the things and all the truths that live inside us that don't get to live outside of us. And like, as a songwriter, as a poet, as a writer, like, that's one of my biggest devotions. Like, all of these stories that live inside of me, find a pathway to have them live outside of my skin,
Mm,
outside of my body. Because if I don't, they eat me alive. And when we let them out, like Christine and both of you have said, like, it becomes this permission slip for other people's liberation. And
yes.
it's like this popcorn thing that happens, like, oh, I can talk about that. Like, all the topics that you were like, people are so afraid of talking about. I'm like, I'm pretty sure we covered all of those in our last podcast episode. We just go rogue. And I've seen people on TikTok being like, you know what, if you want to be taken seriously as a speaker, you can never use profanity. And I'm like, writing in the comments, I'm like, fuck that.
I am like destination fucked if that's the case, because like every second word is like, I mean, it's not like I try to do it. It's just I get so passionate, and then I'm just
It
like,
just
fuck.
comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just comes
There's no
out.
filter.
Well,
It's just a
I spoke
word.
about that recently on a podcast, right? Like the Kid Carson podcast as I was on. I was like, you know, just as a collective, we're so shut down right now in terms of our expression. And I'm like, I don't want to create content if I'm having to perform all the time, right? Like, it's an exhaustive process to have to try to be perfect and try to have to be professional. And that's where I got myself into a lot of trouble. I tried to abandon this sort of like wilder side of me. And I said, I work with a lot of CEOs and big names, and like, I didn't think that if I had Club Unhinged, they would take me seriously. Like, if they listened to a podcast over here, and then all of a sudden I'm, helping them with their $1 million businesses, are they going to be like, oh, she's a bit of a loose cannon. She's a bit off the rails. And so I, feel like there was a suppression, this, even though I was very self-aware, there was this suppression, kind of like, ugh. And then as I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. If they, like, me being over here and talking about this, and then me being over here, like, all of me can exist. And if they're not okay with that, I'm not the right mentor for them. So I'm just going to like let that be the case. Like, if that my craziness over there is too much for them over here, then like, fuck that shit, whatever. Right? They're not the right person for me, because I just think the biggest, I'm not willing to have the cost of entry of business be my authenticity. So if I can't run a business where I'm being authentic, well then fuck it. Or I'll just find my other people. Find the other people who are like, I love that about you. Like, I
Right.
love your unhingedness. I love when you go rogue. I love that. Like, it's the best.
Then you have so
So
much fun doing what you're here to do.
yeah, you have
Yes.
the best time. Like, the analogies I give people, I think that people are craving that freshness. They don't want regurgitated information. And I think this was what happens when we try to be visible and just regurgitate or do what they did because it worked, or they went viral, whatever it is. When it's coming from you and there's not full expression, and there's not resonance behind it, and it's not your experience, it falls flat. That's why people are like, well, I just need a new strategy. I just need to follow that real trend and then I'll blow up. And it's like, or just start talking about your story and you. And again, I see a lot of people being concerned about being misunderstood or getting it wrong or saying something where they're going to be, everyone's coming with a pitchfork to be like, you said that wrong. And I always say to people, I'm like, I totally get you. It can be scary on the internet. And when you're speaking from your story and your lived experience,
Mhm.
nobody can come after you and say you're wrong because you're like, well, this is my lived experience. So how is that wrong? Right. So, like, for even new people being visible, sticking to your story and sticking to what you really know and what you've embodied, I think is like a great way to do it. 'Cause sometimes I see a lot of people trying to teach shit that sounds good. It's like, get your first wealth codes and $1 million. But I'm like, have you like done even close to that? Or are you like, can't pay rent and like, selling your feet on OnlyFans because like, which is fine, but it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's real and true, and teach from that place. And I think when we try to abandon like our story and we try to like dissociate from that or teach something that we don't actually know how to teach it, or we're not embodied in it, that's where I think visibility gets like where we get into trouble, because people are trying to be visible but they're trying to teach shit that they have no business teaching. I'm like, don't do that, just stick, your story's enough, who you are is enough, right?
That's where it starts to become performative.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is not a vibe.
No,
No,
not
no.
right. Well, and people can feel it. Like, it's especially this day and age. I don't know what happened in the last 5 years since COVID, but there has been like a upgrade of a lot of human beings, and there's still a lot of people who I would say have their head in the sand. But there are people who like got refined through that process and became even more sensitive. And because of that sensitivity, like you can sniff out inauthenticity like miles away. So if there is that performative energy, like I notice myself as soon as I feel that in someone's content, I'm like, ew. And then I immediately scroll off. So I think like you're really like leading the charge in, where humanity is hopefully headed in a more authentic direction, because like that performative shit is just not going to work much longer, I don't think, in terms of like moving true transformation forward. And then the people who are really in their authenticity, even if it's messy, like even if it's imperfect, like those are the people who are really going to start leading and trailblazing. I would say, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like when you see people come into your school who maybe have a little bit of that performative energy in them, like what is kind of the move that you kind of usher them towards to kind of let go of some of that performative energy?
So I'm writing this down right now because I'm thinking of one woman inside my school. We'll call her T, and letter T, and she's really great on camera. Like she's really really good at showing up, giving content. She does some stuff that's scripted, unscripted, which is fine, right? Like use all the tools at your fingertips. But the thing that she struggles with the most is sharing more of her humanity. So, and she's afraid that if she shows more of her humanity, that her credibility is going to be questioned. And I keep walking her through this, and we keep talking about this. We're in process around this right now. It's like, it's just baby steps, right? Peel back a layer, peel back another layer. What's the most truthful, honest thing you can say today about where you're currently at, right? It's not about blah, bearing it all. People think sharing their story on the internet is like telling your whole life story like a memoir. Take a bite-sized piece of it. Take a sliver of something that stands out to you. Take something that's impacted you and talk about it like you're talking about it with a friend. So that's what we're working on right now, is for her to really collapse this idea that if she shows her humanity, that her credibility is going to be questioned, and it's going to make her even more credible. That's what she doesn't understand. And that's what we're really working through right now. So she's practicing that in real time inside the school and on her social media. Yeah.
Obsessed. I love that so
Yeah.
much. And I'm not surprised that we have even more parallels, because in the club we teach like micro moves.
Oh,
So
micro
these
moves. I love that. Yeah.
micro shifts, and then you do enough micro shifts, and all of a sudden you're in your quantum expansion, you're in your quantum leap, and you didn't even realize it happened because you were doing these little micro moves along the way to like open the field and open your range a little bit more, widen your capacity, and like build your skill sets and your tools and your confidence. All of those things, they happen in those micro moments.
Yeah.
And so I love that that same methodology is being used in the world of visibility. And like, it's so true. Like the more authenticity she brings, the more credible she is going to be.
Yeah,
Like,
because it's not just what you know and what you do, it's who you are. And who
yes,
you are is shaped by what you've been through, period.
yes,
Point blank,
like
period. That's it.
100%. I would
I should
never
write that
hire a
down. That was
mentor.
really
Yeah,
good. That was really good,
we're
actually.
recording. You got it.
Yeah.
But like, I would never hire a mentor
Yeah.
who hadn't been through some shit. And like,
Yeah.
my whole life is death and rebirth again and again and again and again. I get taken to the bottom. There's plot twist after plot twist. Like, there was a bunch of shit that even happened this weekend. I'm like, if I want to hire a mentor who's never been to the bottom of their life experience and they've never like worked their way through that,
Mhm.
like I don't care like how flashy and how well manicured and how great their copy is. I'm going to feel that incongruence and it'll never be a yes for me to work with them.
I know there's some like, 7, 8 figure mentors out there in the internet, and I had to unfollow a lot of them because I was like, I was drawn to this person because, of course, you're talking about $1 million months, right? And so I was drawn to that. I noticed myself being drawn to that. And then the more I heard this person talk, I was just like, you haven't been through shit. You haven't been through shit in your life, right? So it's like, and for me, that really matters. It really matters because it shapes you. It hardens you. It softens you. It gives you perspective. It shapes how you treat people who can't do shit for you, right? Like everything you've gone through shapes who you are. So yeah, I don't follow a bunch of people like that because I was just like, it's just, it seems nice in theory, but I just don't feel like you've gone through some shit. And that matters to me.
Same.
So, yeah,
I have hired
yeah.
mentors, um, and stuff happened. Like I was going through like deep trauma at the time, and my ex-husband was using drugs, and I was like, you know what I mean? Like I had a baby. I had also, and I was trying to work on my business, and you know, I like shared, like I showed up to a call, even if I didn't want to. And I started sharing, like I was just like, we started diving into my business and I was like, at this time I didn't really understand trauma and the nervous system the way I do understand it now. But I was like trying to dive into that and I was like, obviously just dissociating and like totally out of my body. And I was like, I just need to share something about what's going on for me right now. And can I do that? And oh yeah, for sure. And then I shared it and it was like radio silence. And I was like, she's like, why do you think that, like, just asking me some very generic, and again, it's not shitting on her because I'm not necessarily saying I hired that for, you know what I mean, for that. But I think that what I'm saying is that there's this extra, sometimes people see their past or their trauma or what they've walked themselves through as a negative. And for me in that experience, it actually would have been an asset because had she had the depth of what I've been, or like even like could relate to some point, she would have and been more like skilled to help me walk through that so we could work on my business. So I think this is the thing is that being able to hold space and being able to be like, I don't know exactly what you're walking through, or maybe I do, but like let's just like take a moment, hold some space for this and let's like, you know what I mean? Like help you regulate again. So this is why I think so many people are like, oh God, if they knew my past. And I'm like, if only I knew your past, I would feel more safe. I would co-regulate with you even more. But when there's this like pedestaling that happens in the industry or, there's this idea, this illusion that these people are over here. Like I think rawness and authenticity and storytelling in an embodied way, not when you're like in the thick of it. And you're like, my life's dumps right now. I'm in a dumpster fire, and this is like, you don't have to be the Hot Mess Express completely just going rogue and you telling your story from a totally disembodied place. But I think that these snippets into our lives are what is actually really helpful. Like Kelsey and I, multiple women in the club have said to us, thank you for sharing that piece so openly and honestly, because it like really makes me feel like I'm not alone, and it really helps me understand that what I'm moving through right now is okay and it's completely normal. And this is why I love storytelling. I love hearing people's stories. I love to hear the gritty underbelly of people's stories because it makes me be like, me too. I feel you when I know somebody's story and I hear it's like a documentary, or you go on Netflix and you actually watch somebody's story Before that, in my mind, I'm like, "Huh, you haven't been through shit. You just probably had it easy, and then you just were a star, and now you have everything you want, and you're complaining about the small thing." Whereas you go back and you learn about them, and you're like, holy shit balls, I was wrong, and I am now more obsessed with you because I feel you, right? Humanity, it's humanity, it's humanity, it's humanity. So I think when you can storytell and lace in some of your own journey through your content, it's so much more valuable, and people feel you and they fall in love with you even more.
So many things are popping up for me as you talk about this, Christina, and I wrote this down, is like, so there are few stories that I've always had on repeat. Okay. On rotation, I would say. I have a story arsenal. Every podcast interview, or I'd weave it into content or something, I have like 4 signature stories. I'm not saying I outgrew those stories. I just stopped using them as my anchor stories. I
Yep.
started coming up with new stories. And this recently happened. I'm 43. This started happening at around the age of 40. I was like, boss, you've been through so much more. Why do you keep recycling the same stories? And then it was time for me to kind of look at, like, what had I gone through in the past few years that's fresh, that feels alive in me, to your point, alive, feeling alive. What am I feeling? And I just think that people who are afraid to share their stories, number one, they haven't really fully extracted the wisdom from it. They haven't fully embodied, like, they're not embodying the lessons and the wisdom from it. And then also, I think people really are afraid of, is my story going to be met with pity? Is it going to be met with people not understanding? There's a real reason why people are afraid to put their stories out there. But damn, when they do, it's like magic, right? Because then it's like, oh, you have been through something. Oh, you're not just some like talking head piece. You know what I mean? You have substance to you.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
think what's funny is people can go almost one of two ways. The pendulum swings. There's either this like hyper performative, everything's perfect. And some people are very attracted to that. And then there's like the pendulum swings over to the like, I'm going to dear diary you every single day. And I'm going to tell you every little nitty gritty thing. And then it
Yeah,
becomes
the
like this, like,
overshare.
oh my gosh. And then you're like, whoa. And I think that's sometimes where that oversharing comes in, or overdoing it, because there's this, again, it's not maybe even authentic. It's more of like there is a hook, or they are looking for some sort of pity, or there's this idea of like, let's like trauma bond and pain together, which like, again, none of it's bad or wrong. It's just, it's kind of this interesting thing. So I think like when you can come, like you're saying, you're extracting the gold from what happened, and you're able to share from a place of regulation where you're not sort of really dysregulated, or you're sharing it and you're like, your chest is heating up and your whole body is starting to like, I
Combust.
used to, I used to call, uh, whenever I would speak, I would get crazy red chest. I would used to call it crazy red chest because like I would start to speak and my whole body would have this, reaction. Everything would go like super red. My body would go red. And obviously, again, understanding your past trauma, the nervous system, and how like visibility is a really big thing for people.
I
Like
know.
it
I
is a
love it.
big,
I love it.
big, big thing from, because if you think about it, when your system is scanning, like I'm so impressed that you have all this business based around visibility, because it means that people are more invested in working through their past and working through, and they care more about their vision than they do like, do you know what I mean? Like they've hit a threshold where they're over that hump. But I think for a lot of people, they want to be visible so deeply. It's all in their bones. They want to help people, but there's this like invisible wall. There's this force saying like, no, don't, that's not a good idea. And that is actually a good sign, because it means you're hitting an edge of your expansion, right? So I'm sure when people are like considering, do I come into your programs or our programs or whoever's programs, there's this part who's like, I want it, I don't want it, I want it, I don't want it, right? Because it's like, I want the visibility, but oh my gosh, all my body is saying this is a bad idea. Because again, like I was bullied and humiliated as a kid.
Yeah.
So my whole system, when I went to go be visible or speak on camera, guess what would happen? All my protector parts would come out. Like I remember the first time trying to record a video module for a program, I was like, I'm going to teach people everything I wish, like everything I've learned through my spiritual awakening and transformation. And I sat down, I took like went away for the weekend. I got all the equipment. I was like, I'm ready to do this. And then like literally I was like, why am I going for a walk right now? Why am I going to get a scone? Why am I binge eating? What is going on right now? And I sat down and all the voices in my head were like, you're disgusting, you're a piece of shit, nobody cares about you, you have nothing good to say. Like it was like mass shadow, and I was like, whoa. And so I sat with it, and I was like, I learned to this point a bit about shadow work and like sitting and getting to know these parts versus being like, go away. Like whenever people are like, fuck your inner critic, I'm like,
Yeah.
probably not the best thing. Let's try
Yikes.
to understand it. Let's work with your system so that we can actually make some movement. So I sat there and I was like, okay, tell me everything you want me to know. And it was like, you're a piece of shit. Nobody cares. You're ugly. Blah, blah. Like it was just like thing after thing. But I finally let it tire itself out, that voice. And underneath it was like a really deeply hurt little kid who was like, I'm really scared. If you go and create this video, people could talk about you. People might not like what you have to say. People might not like your work. People might make fun of you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love you. That makes so much sense. Let me, like, how can I help you feel better? And like just hearing the voices that are actually just like, I'm really scared, and letting and acknowledging them and working with them is the thing that I also found helped me be visible, because I was able to be like, oh, yeah, I have a lot of data that says being seen and known is not safe, right? And so when I like was like, oh, I have to validate that part and not push it away. I can push it away temporarily. I might get a bit of work done. I might get a few videos done. But when I started learning how to work with it, I was like, oh shit, this is the key
Yeah.
for visibility, is acknowledging the past parts of us who were like, because there's that real association. We have real data. We're not like, we're not sitting there being like, yeah, I think I'll just do this for fun. I'll play this hamster wheel in my head for fun just so that I'll, right? It's like, it's
Yeah.
real data. And that's why when people are like, I'm scared. I'm like, of course you're scared. Tell me what being visible was like in the past. Well, I was made fun of. I'm like, oh, great. And how was it, being known by people? Well, like I was betrayed and all these different things. I'm like, so of course you're not going to want to be rah about going out and being like, let's go experience more pain. That feels like a fun thing to do today,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure, if you're out there listening right now and you're like, I feel this, it's like working with your system versus pushing against it is so helpful. I'm sure you see that too, right? It's like acknowledging, and I mean, obviously you've created a space, a group, and a community, and that alone is so powerful because co-regulation, right? Co-regulation is like the
Yes.
springboard to healing, because you're sitting there. All
Yeah.
our relational trauma happens in relationship. Kelsey's an expert
Yeah.
in that as well. And so when you're healing and you're doing stuff like being around other people when you're scared and doing similar things is also very, very
Cathartic.
helps the process move
Yeah.
along more quickly versus trying to lone wolf it out there by yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the whole beauty of doing things in community, right? I mean, it's so easy to just kind of raw dog it and solo it on by yourself, but
Raw dog.
but I do definitely think, I mean, and that's what a lot of the members are seeing inside the school. They're like posting their videos before they post them on their social media, and just having their community look at it first is easing their nervous system. It's like, oh, I'm doing it in front of all the members inside the school. If I can do it here, I can do it out there publicly. So yes to everything you just
I
said.
didn't die. Well, that's the thing.
I didn't
That's
die.
so brilliant
Exactly.
that you do that and you have that set up,
Yeah.
because it's training their nervous system to say, oh, there's not a grizzly bear out there who's going to, because when we have unprocessed trauma and data in our nervous system, Kelsey and I call it undigested experiences, you're like, it literally doesn't know time. It's not like, oh, I'm safe. If we're like, yo, I'm good. Like I used to talk, I'm like, you're fine, Christine, you're fine. You just get over, just push through, do the thing. And I was like, yeah, like a lot of coaches are like, just, get out there and just do the thing. And I'm like, yes. And
You don't realize I've just time traveled and I'm now 6 years old.
well, that's the thing. Exactly. And like, it's do the thing until you do the thing. Right. And that's the thing, is we even teach us in the club, is oftentimes when we're talking about money, we're like, do you have a money problem, or do you have a visibility problem? Do you have a money problem, or do you have a being known problem? Because to make more money, you have to offer your services
Yes.
or product. And if you're afraid of being visible, well, guess what? You're
No,
not going to
but
go out and tell
yeah.
people about your shit, because
Yeah.
you're going to be like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I know Kelsey and I'm personally on a mission. I'm like, we need more amazing humans out there sharing their voice, sharing their unique story. And like, it is a crime. I've been in so many containers where I see like just epic humans getting taken out and cock blocked and like from sharing their voice, sharing their vision with the world because there's just this like invisible wall they can't seem to break through. And I'm like, this is a crime and we need to fix it.
Yes.
So we're on this, all three of us. This three-way is like
It's
no
a
more
turbo mission.
No more.
turbo mission. Let's see your like most
Unhinged out
expression.
loud. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so here for that. So here
Yeah.
for that. Oh my gosh.
I love it.
It's so good. And, you know, it reminds me a lot of like being a performer and like that energy of co-regulation when you're in like a community. So if you're in a theater, let's say, and you have the company and you have your peers, like it is so much easier for everyone to go out on stage and do their little song and dance when you know that you have other people that understand what you're going through and they're out on that stage with you. And so I love that you've built, you know, a version of that into your school where they're coming in and like, okay, I'm going to post in here first.
Yeah.
And then my team is going to like see it and then we're going to co-regulate. It's all going to be good. And then I have that, you know, confidence and that I think it's like an upgrade of self-worth too. Like when people really see the truth of who you are and they bring approval to that, then it weaves in like another layer of worthiness. And then that worthiness gets filtered into, okay, I have enough courage to go out and do this
Yes.
in my life or to like do this on social media or like have that really hard conversation with my partner that I've been dreading, but like I know I need to have it. Like visibility isn't just like business, you know, it's
No,
about like
not at
how you
all.
are in your relationships. Like that's kind of my area of expertise, and the amount of people that hide in their relationships is insane. And they're not willing to tell the truth in their relationship. And then they wonder, like, why aren't we fucking? Like, why is it so boring? Like, why do I like I'm having like an affair in my head? Like, well,
Why is my husband on Ashley Madison?
yeah. What are all these charges on our credit card?
What is all this? I mean, listen. It's true though. I've said
It's
that
true.
before. I'm like, why is it? You know, after I watched the Ashley Madison documentary, I was like,
Oh, yeah.
wow. But it's sad. It's when you think about it, it is sad because if we're not liberated in sex, this is why we dive into sex in the club. Even is because if we're not liberated in there, or we don't understand it, or we're so afraid to talk about that subject, then we create rupture and we have these desires and we feel so ashamed that we need to go and hire, right? Hide or hire, you know, pay for sex, whatever it is, or go on these websites, or you know what I mean? Because they feel safe to. It's not even oftentimes about the sex. It's about being able to express themselves fully, and that's the only place they can get it. And so I'm like, so much of the worldly problems and relational problems and all these things would be healed and fixed if we can learn and train ourselves slowly in micro shifts to become more of ourselves and more authentic, because then we actually find the right relationships or the right, you know, communities or whatever it is. And so I think this also just goes back to why being an authentic leader is so important, because if you're designing and creating your spaces from a performative place, then the people are also not getting the medicine that they need, because they
Right.
will still be in their fractured position, right? So I've watched your content. I love how incredibly authentic you are. I love how you just roll and you're like, yo, this is it. I'm like, that's my vibe. Like that's my vibe, right? Like I love that. I love that you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna pick up my phone. I'll be like, yo, this is what I'm talking about today. And I'm like, yep, that's it. Right? Somebody's like in the perfect studio every single time. Again, there's a person for everything. So it's like your authentic expression. If you love going out and you love being perfect and you love having everything dialed and that's like your vibe, it's like that's amazing. Like I was in a woman's world, Alpha Femme, and I love that. Like I was like, everything is luxury, everything is curated, everything is perfect, but you can tell that that's her, that it's an authentic expression of her.
Yeah.
But then I watched other people trying to mimic it and trying to make it their own when that isn't an authentic expression and it falls flat. And then they wonder, they're like, oh, well, it must be my work. And it's like, no, no, no. But what is your authentic expression? Sometimes I love like looking glam and like looking like fucking $1,000,000 and going out to things and like being in Broadway show in London, and I'm like, I'm all decked to the nines. I love this. And then there's times I'm literally a dumpster fire and I'm like just in my pajamas and I have like shit on my shirt and my daughters are being asshats and I'm just like, yep, this is also
This is me.
the entrepreneurial.
I
This is
always
also
say,
me.
I always
Yay,
say,
right?
I always say, don't test me. I can go from dirtbag to diva real quick.
Yeah.
But I love that. And in the club, we talk a lot about this. It's Kelsey's thing of like being like I was going to say free range woman. I was
Full
thinking
range.
farm to table. It is the full range woman or whatever, right? It's like the full range person because you can be that and you can also be that. And all of it can exist. And that to me is like true freedom. That to me is true wholeness. And that to me is being in a regulated state when you're like, nobody's going to find out that I'm like, this polished princess, and then all of a sudden I go behind the scenes and I'm like,
A little
fuck you,
gremlin.
and yes, and we're controlling and manipulative and all the things, right? So I think being able to just, yeah, but I think it's
Congruent
not
with
not about
yourself.
going from one extreme to the other because that also can be a big blowout to the nervous system. But I love how you're helping people with those micro shifts, just like we are, because we're like, guess what? Every quantum leap, every visibility quantum leap, every whether that's being viral, like every one of those is built from those little digestible micro shifts, and it bypasses all the protective parts in a sneaky little way. All of a sudden, you're like, oh my God, I'm visible and I'm sharing my gifts to the world. And you're like,
How did that happen?
message to the madness. This is what we did.
Oh, it's so good. Vasavi, if there was like one like really like big nugget or like small nugget or like very juicy nugget that is on your heart that you would like to leave with our audience today, what would that be?
This is something that I am currently experiencing and really integrating in my own life right now. So it's very alive for me right now. And it really is this belief that I am adopting, and I am rewiring my brain to start to believe this, not just in my brain, but in my body, that the path to getting everything that I want is going to be through simplification. That's what I've been telling myself because I have definitely been a do more kind of girl. I got to do more. I got to work harder. I got to put more out there. And I've just been sitting with this, and this applies to all aspects of life, I feel, right? Like it's not for me to always do more. Like in love, especially, I've always done more, talked more, explained myself more, hope you get me more. There's a lot of performance in my love life as well, right? So I'm just really sitting with this, like, no, the path to getting anything I want is through simplification. And so that's allowing me to just simplify what I tell myself, how I think about things, how I structure things, how I say things. So yeah, that's what I want to leave the audience with.
I'm gonna adopt that too, girl.
Yeah,
I
same.
love that. Well, you know what? You know what I take it when things are in resonance for me, I can feel it in my body. So as soon as you said that, my whole body exhaled and it was like, oh, wait a minute. Right. I don't have to do more. Right? It's just an illusion. It's like when I get to that thing, I'll feel or whatever. And you're like, no, it's going to be through simplification. So your whole business is now lining up that way. And more people need that simplification. So I love that you're leading that charge right now. And you're like,
And
yeah, no,
I
everything
just
I
want to
want.
hear where that came up, like it just, and how it shows up practically in case someone, listening might resonate with this is like, I notice especially in my offers that I am doing the most. Like I noticed for each of my offers, I had multiple tiers. And I was talking with my operations manager, Sarah, and she was like, do you even like these tiers? Do you even like the way you structured it? And she just asked me that one question. And immediately I was like, no, I don't. I don't like it at all. I don't think we should have multiple tiers. We should have one tier per offer. Like we just stripped away the fat, and I feel so much better. Like I actually showed up today, even on this conversation, just feeling so much lighter because I've chosen and decided to simplify the shit out of what I'm offering. And that was still a little bit of remaining people pleasing tendencies on my part. Need to please everyone, need to make
Right.
sure every offer hits everyone. No,
It's accessible to everyone.
yeah, it's what do I want? So that's the season that I'm in. What do I want? That's it. What do I want? Yeah, yeah.
Can you like go one layer deeper with that? Because I feel like people want to know that because the people will be very curious. Because I like how you brought in a tangible example. So what did you have? Can you give us just a little more grit around that? Like, so what did you have and what did you strip and what are you obsessed with now?
Oh, absolutely. So I have something called pocket coaching. It's basically daily accountability, access to me Monday through Friday using Voxer. Under pocket coaching, I have 4 options: 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, 12 month. And I'm thinking to myself, do I even want the energy of someone who just comes into my business for a month? No.
Right.
Do I even want the energy of someone who comes into my business for 3 months? No. I don't. I'm good with 6 months because a lot of times they renew, and I'm great with a year. I'm just wrapping up with someone who did a year with me. So the conversation is less about what would make people happy, what would get people in the door versus no, I'm exclusive. This is what it's going to take, and this is what I require for you to work with me. This
Hmm.
is what these options look like. And I had one more one-on-one offering, and it was like weekly sessions plus Voxer, bi-weekly sessions plus Voxer. And I'm like, I don't even want to work with someone weekly. This ain't therapy. I don't want to work with you weekly. So I got rid of the weekly sessions and I'm like, we'll just do bi-weekly because that
Hmm.
feels really good for me. Like I see you twice a month and I have 2 other weeks that are just for me, that I
Hmm.
can do my own stuff in my business. So that's the nitty gritty of it. And that's how it showed up.
Oh, I'm obsessed. I'm
Yeah.
very similar. I'm like weekly calls, like give me anxiety,
Give me
especially the
anxiety.
one-to-one container, like absolutely not.
Yeah.
And like Voxer coaching, I tested this a couple years ago and I'm like, that is not for me.
I gotta be honest with you. It's not for everyone, but
Yeah.
I really enjoy being able to help no matter where I am.
Yeah.
Like I could be just folding laundry and get a Voxer and be like, oh, cool. I can, so for me, I really like the flexibility and the lack of
Hmm.
needing to be connected to Zoom.
Yeah.
But that works for me. But yeah, everyone's different.
100%. And I just,
Yeah.
I love hearing that example because it is just the permission slip to,
Mhm.
okay, I'm not going to do it exactly the same as you, but now I have the permission to do what's right for me
Yeah.
and to redefine and like reimagine things. And I mean, Christine and I have reimagined the club so many fucking times since we started this, 15 months ago or 16 months ago. And it's every time we've done it, it's been that exact process of like, oh, this is feeling a little dense or it doesn't feel quite right. How do we need to reimagine it so that it actually fits and flows for both of us? And when we do that, then all of a sudden, like we enjoy being here much more and we're able to serve to the best of our abilities. Meanwhile, like if we had kept it in a structure, we had 3 tiers when we started too.
Yeah.
We were like, no. And it was that same thing. Like, do we want the energy of someone's coming in and out? Or do we want the energy of women who are like, actually, I'm committed to my reinvention and I'm going to walk this path with you for a year and I'm going to go all in on me. And that to me feels so much better. Like, I don't do well with the in and out thing. Like, I like intimacy, I like depth, like, and I can't get that in like a very quick shot, one time or like 1 month. It just doesn't vibe for me. But when we shifted that, and like all of a sudden, the women in there, they're serious. You know?
Isn't
They're
that
like
ironic
committed.
how that works out? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love
Totally.
this. So, so good. So, so good.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
love that. And that can change too. I love that. You can like set it up one way. I think that's another big permission slip for entrepreneurs or, creatives or artists. It's like it can change. Whatever this feels like amazing for you, you're allowed to change it,
Hmm.
right? Like anytime I tried to get too stuck to something, it's like that doesn't feel good anymore. And I think people, that's also what I see is people clinging to past versions of themselves or past business structures. And there's not this permission to be like, this doesn't feel great for me. It's sort of like, what is the client, what do they want? What do they want? What do they want? And that's kind of what I'm hearing you say is like, what you thinking about what do they want isn't setting up the foundation. It's like, how does my energy work the best? And I'm going to design my offers from that place.
Hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly. Of
Boom. Thank you for sharing those tangible examples. I think that'll
course.
be really
Yeah.
helpful. I know
Yeah.
for me, it's like you hear these concepts, you're like, how does that
How do I
apply?
apply that in my life?
Yeah, like what
Yeah,
does
of
that look
course. No,
like?
I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you
Yeah,
asked.
I love that you can, that you can go to that. So if people want to work with you,
Yeah.
people are like, I'm obsessed,
Avi.
Avi. How can they work with you? And yeah, tell me a bit about what that looks like.
They can go to my website, vasavikumar.com. There's a clear path that you can pick, whatever you are hungry for right now in this season. You can, of course, always just start by joining the school. It's 37 a month or 397 for the year. And then, like I said, my two one-on-one ways to work with me is pocket coaching and my out loud visibility method, which is 6 months of working with me. And then I also have my retreat in Mexico, which is coming up in May of next year, May 22nd. Yeah, which would be 1 year since my dad has died. May 22nd. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
What a
Just
beautiful
had to throw
baby.
that in there. Love my dad. Love my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's very proud of you.
Yeah.
We love your dad too. I mean, without him, we have no you.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so special.
Thank you,
And
Kelsey.
I'm very, very excited for people to get into your world. And here in the club, we are on a mission to make personal development great again. And this conversation definitely hit that mark and hit that target. And thank you for being such an example of doing incredible, impeccable work in the world that is so needed. And for taking the time for being to be here with us today. And we just love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for just saying such beautiful things. I appreciate that.
Very welcome.
Yeah.
Everything will be in the show notes. So if you want to work with Vasavi, get your bootay over to that side of the internet because she a vibe. She a
Yeah.
vibe, people. She's a vibe.
Don't miss out. And also, if you're obsessed with us, because obviously, why wouldn't you be? Make sure that you like and subscribe and share the podcast with every single person that you know that could use a little visibility boost and could have a little bit more unhinged love in their life. And we'll be back next week with something new. We love you. Bye, friends. All in all, we want to say thank you for being here. We love and appreciate you so much. And if you liked today, give us a 5-star rating. And we'll see you next week.
Share it. If you know somebody who needs this in their life, share this shit. Abundance goes round and round. We love you.
We love you. Bye.